When Barbara Jika came to Britain from Nigeria to study a master's, she brought her 10 and 8-year-old sons.
I don't think I would have come. There's no way I would have left my 2 boys. Absolutely not. My wanting to further my education, to get a better job, was all because it was for them.
She says graduating with that master's led her to come back for a PhD and to work as a healthcare assistant in the NHS. Under new rules, international students like Barbara will no longer be able to bring dependents to the UK unless they're on a postgraduate research course. It comes after the number of family members arriving with students rose 8-fold to almost 136,000. International students are part of overall net migration figures that are expected to hit record levels on Thursday, crossing 700,000. The issue, which was discussed at Cabinet this morning, has divided members.
Are you failing on immigration targets, Home Secretary?
The Home Secretary had wanted to go further and faster on cutting migration. But were her ambitions curtailed by other colleagues pushing in a different direction? This Tory MP said the Home Office had previously wanted to cut a 2-year work visa available to students after their course and even put a cap on overall numbers.
And that hasn't happened. What we've seen today is actually very reasonable reforms on dependence. And I think, when you look at the battle that's gone on in government, the Education Secretary Gillian Keegan, the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt have won against the Home Office in demonstrating the economic opportunity that students can bring.
He argued that students weren't migrants and shouldn't be included in the net figures. Other MPs told ITV News they were furious the government hadn't gone further, but some felt this was a good start.
Legal migration, people who are coming here. It's not all negative, but for many this is the elephant in the room really. We want PhD students, we want the world's best, but what we don't want is people doing Mickey Mouse courses as a way of a backdoor into our immigration system.
But universities said this policy would hurt and make it harder for them to compete to attract students.
Well, while that was all happening, we've had an announcement from the government about migration. They are, as we know, keen to reduce migration figures. Let's talk to our political correspondent Liz Mavis, who joins us now from Westminster. It seems that the family members of those who are here studying are the latest people in the government sights.
Yes, that seems to be what they're focusing on. And as you say, certainly over the last few days, even the last week, the government has been coming under pressure over this issue of immigration, in particular that 2019 commitment to bring immigration levels down, and instead they are soaring, and we expect new figures this week that will show immigration levels rising even higher than they did last year, which was at around 500,000. Now, what the government are focusing on today, we've just had a written ministerial statement on this. They are saying that what the immigration statistics highlight is an unexpected rise in international students, around 136,000 visas granted the year ending December 2022. So we're going to see some new measures introduced to try to get that number down, and they will focus on, first of all, removing the rights of international students in certain circumstances to bring dependents, removing the ability for international students to switch from the student route to the work route before they have committed their studies, and also clamping down on what the government is calling unscrupulous education providers who are basically selling immigration rather than education. So a tightening of regulations around international student visas, and I think that is one of the ways that the government thinks that they might be able to bring the soaring number of legal immigrants coming into the UK down and take some of that political heat, some of that pressure off the Prime Minister, and of course some of the splits in Cabinet that we've been seeing over this issue. Some government ministers accept the need for more immigration because they know there's big gaps in the UK's workforce, and then others, like the Home Secretary, has been very explicit in saying we should be, as a country, sticking to the Conservative Party's 2019 manifesto commitments to bring those numbers right down.